Hi and welcome to another Memories Made video. Today we are going to make an 8.5 by 11 inch layout, and I'm going to show you how I mix and match manufacturers and I use things in different ways than they were originally intended for. So this particular pattern paper is from Little Yellow Bicycle, and while I love this side of the paper, I really loved this very subtle pink dot tone on tone for the other side. So this is going to serve as the basis for our layout, and I wanted to ground it on some white cardstock so that it will stand out a little bit more. I'm going to use some Canson photo corners in Craft because Craft is going to appear in several elements on this layout, and I could have used white or I could have eliminated this step altogether, but I like to keep these on hand. I have them in white and black. And then I've showed you in a previous video last week the way I use large elements that are originally intended for mini albums. And this is from the Studio Calico album that I used last week. And because it was near my desk, I'm using it again. And I think this is a great way to use up things, is to leave them close by and challenge yourself to use the product that you just bought a few different times. Now, I recently purchased a Heidi Swapp folder album, and on the front of the cover was this cute little heart, and I cut this off, and I've showed you this before. So I look and think about, can I cut this particular element and use it in a new way? And then originally I put it down and I liked the green stripe, but then I wanted to do something a little bit different. So what I did is I took a Whiskers graphic bag and I cut off the very top of it because I loved this pattern. And I'm actually going to stick this pattern onto the back of that Heidi Swapp album, and then I'm going to cut off the excess. So I liked the look of this craft, and so I can use this bag. I made sure to cut it so that I can use this bag at another time. But I love the way that craft pattern looks inside of that album. And you can cut off any extra bits that you need to. Then we'll go ahead and adhere this to the bottom of the layout, and you can see I am layering different elements on top of each other. This particular tab on this pattern paper inspired me to pull out a new package of Jelly Bean Soup die cuts, and I found elements that matched this particular piece. Now this particular piece has soft teals, grays, and a hint of green, and it's not quite the same color, but it's in the same color tone, and so I'm going to go ahead and use that. Then I have an old Tim Holtz Ideology sticker sheet book. You can see inside it has both white and craft words, and I'm just going to place a few of them onto these tabs. We'll use the word Chronicles. Again, I'm bringing in the craft, and we'll use everyday. So I like to label different things. You could also create your own by typing them or journaling on them, however you'd like. This is the photo that I'm going to use, and when I first pulled it out and looked at it, it was really saturated. So I opened it up in my Photoshop and I desaturated it and I changed the vibrance so that it's a little bit washed out. And I liked that look for this particular layout because the tones of the colors in the pattern paper and other products are really muted, and I like that look. So I went ahead and did that. So look for ways that you can alter your photo, especially if you're familiar with a photo editing program. These particular banner pennants are from the same Jelly Bean Soup collection where the green tab came from, and I'm going to tuck them underneath. Then this chipboard pennant is from a Little Yellow Bicycle collection, and it's a boy collection, and I will link you to it in the product section on my blog. And I just wanted to layer the blue on top of the light teal, and then we'll add the green pennant as well. So I look for ways that I can layer. So I will look through all my die cut packaging and look for colors that are similar to the ones that I am using, or I will look for an element that is close enough in color. And while this gray, for instance, doesn't quite match this gray, it's close enough so it works. These two tags are from Fancy Pants, And this particular collection had a lot of grays and yellows, and I stayed away from those colors and instead focused on the blue and the gray that matched the page that I'm doing today. So I'll trim these off. The strings are a little longer than I want. So then to the center of this heart, I wanted to add a little bit more interest. So I have a green that's in the same tone as the green of this chevron stripe. And I'm going to go ahead and add this button to that bag, that craft bag that I added. So I'll trim off the excess. Then I wanted to add a see-through element. And again, these were on my desk from a project I was already working on, and I've trimmed it down. They are Heidi Swap borders, and they are clear. They're heavy acetate, and I showed you last time. This is a cool way that you can reincorporate objects. So last week I did a masculine page, and this week I'm doing a more feminine layout, and I'm using a lot of the same elements. So leave them out, think, can I use them again? How can I use them? And then I wanted to pull the soft purple that I saw from here, and I wanted to add a very eye-catching bold title. So I went with the purple. This is an actual cut from Silhouette. It comes exactly like that. It says Adore Cherish, and we're going to adhere that with our glue pen. Silhouette offers a lot of different shapes that you can die cut with. I particularly am fond of a couple of different designers. One whose handwriting I just think is beautiful is Lonnie Stevens. And so look for her shop in the Silhouette store because I love her stuff. I also love Carrie Bradford's stuff. She sells stuff on her site. 2Ps will be having cuts soon, and you can cut from there. But I wanted this bold purple in a large script as well as serif font. And then I can continue embellishing the layout. I can add journaling, I can add some dots to it, and I'll go ahead and do that. So I have a couple of little dots, and I can add them to the layout. And then I want to add a little more dimension up here at the top, and so I have this little green tag that's also from the Jelly Bean Soup, and we'll go ahead and attach that. And then I have some pins. These are from the My Mind's Eye collectible, and I'm going to add a little bit of interest with some metal at the top here, and I'll just stick them directly in, and the sharp points are behind, so no one's going to get pinched or anything. Then to this banner here, I'm going to add some additional green buttons, and I've already tied them with twine, and we'll just use a glue dot to adhere them. That brings that nice light Kelly green up to the top. I'm going to leave these strings a little bit longer. I like the kind of messy look they have. Now, rather than do traditional journaling, I want to do some stamping. These are some new stamps from Echo Park, and they have partnered with Hampton Art, and I'm going to use this Sweet Girl stamp. And I'm going to stamp on some craft cardstock so we can bring that craft cardstock into more of my project. And I'm going to use a tone-on-tone ink. I could have used the Kelly green, or I could use the purple. So you have a lot of options for how you want to incorporate stamping colors into your project. So then we will go ahead and trim this with our paper trimmer so that it fits across that heart tab. Cut it just a little bit. Want it just a smidge thinner. And sometimes I don't know exactly how it's going to turn out until I get it all put together, and sometimes I change my mind. I'll pull an element out and it doesn't work, and so I won't use it after all. So then we'll go ahead and clip the ends so that they form a pennant, and if you have a pennant punch, and I will link you to one, that would be another option. And we'll go ahead and just distress the edges just a little bit with a brown stamping ink pad. And then before I attach it, I'm going to add a little bit more texture with some twine, and you can use baker's twine. I'll link you to some of my favorite colors, and I'm just going to wrap this around a few times. So lots of feminine details with the hearts and the flowers, and the twine even tied into a bow is a great feminine detail. So I'm just trying to bring similar textures to different parts of the layout. And then we'll go ahead and adhere this to the heart tabbed journaling area. Over here at the bottom. Looks like my pen came out. So we'll add a little more adhesive. So there you see how I've used a lot of the similar items that I used last week, but I've done a more feminine layout. And you can see that by cutting up the bag or by using different elements on the page, I've given it a new look. If this is the first Memories Made video you're watching, be sure to check out the others. This is a series that comes out every week, and I'd love to hear your suggestions for videos that you'd like to see. Thank you for joining me for today's Memory Made video. Look for a new video coming soon.